Hello, this is Lady Boulay, and I hope you're having a marvelous day. Thank you for your support. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. Thank you for your thumbs up, for your comments, and thank you for sharing the videos. Thank you for all you do to support the channel. Well, I am happy today. A black man finally did something that I've been waiting for a black man to do. Now, y'all know how I can't stand that manosphere. To me, those men are misogynistic, they are mean-spirited, and I don't think they like black women. And they do everything they can to make black women look bad and demean and degrade black women. And I just really, ever since I've been listening to those guys, and I've tried to give them the benefit of the doubt, some of them actually are intelligent some days, and they say some things that make sense. But for the most part, that those men are about trying to take down black women, trying to weaponize white women against black women, and try to show black women that they are not needed in the world and that black men are better off without them. Fine. That's okay. And to that end, they do everything they can to show black women how much disdain and disrespect they have for them. Now, that's my take on it. And I was open-minded when I first started listening to them because I thought I was going to be listening to men that are intelligent. I came to YouTube in 2017, but most of what I have gotten is black men telling black women everything that's wrong with them and that these other races of women are better. Now, that's what I've gotten from the Manosphere. And for that reason, I do not like that particular outfit, and I think they're destructive. I think they do damage to black women, to black men, and the black family. If you don't like black women, just say you don't like black women and move on. If you can get a white woman or a Chinese or an Asian or a Mexican, and you can do better with that woman, do that and move on. But they have to drag black women into everything that they do. But then it's always from a negative standpoint of trying to make black women look bad. So I wanted to see a black man take on the manosphere. And finally one did. In the last few days, there has something come up with this white woman who joined the manosphere, the black manosphere. She calls herself Justpearlythings, and she's in the black manosphere. She joined the black manosphere. She's like the successor to Kevin Samuels. I mean, she surpassed sliced bread. You know, the saying is the most wonderful thing since sliced bread. Well, she was the most wonderful thing since the invention of technology. And she was just doing everything right and saying everything right. And they were just applauding her and the embodiment of the perfect white woman. And they were all on board with her. And for me, one of the things, and I haven't seen, I didn't watch them with her, but I've heard talk about how they carried on about her. And since this dropped and what she did, I've been paying more attention to it. And so she was what they wanted in a white woman, because I believe that secretly there's a large number of black men who see the white women as their savior from the white men and black women. So Miss Pearl was going to save them. She was going to save them. She's sitting up in her studio with her legs crossed and giving them all kinds of signs about what she is and what she can do for them, and just talking her trash. Making a fool out of them. Making a fool out of them. There is no other way to put it. But they had that moment in time where they had found their savior. The white woman understands the black man. And she's our ally. So they were looking up on her as an ally. And they were all up behind. For real, what it seems like from what I've been seeing. But. She showed her true colors. This woman who calls herself Justpearlythings is an American from the Midwest. But she moved to London and set up her studio. She's from a wealthy background as far as I understand. But she decided that she was going to exploit African American culture, because it's really African American culture. It's the takedown of African American people that they're after, especially these conservative white Americans like herself. So instead of setting up in the United States of America, where black women would have a direct shot at her, and black men too who didn't agree with her, she decided to move to London, because everybody understands the mind of black immigrants, black people who are not Americans. Everybody understands their mindset. It's not the same as black Americans. As the Kenyan comedian said, black Americans are woke in the traditional meaning of the word, which means that black Americans know who the real enemy is. And the Africans and the Caribbeans apparently do not, or people don't think that they do. And they are waking up now. They're beginning to see it. But she was calling them my Africans. She moved over there so she could exploit the blackness of African immigrants to England and the Caribbean, and put a black face to what she was doing. And as a white American woman, she understood the mind of black men and how easily they are manipulated by white women. So if you're a white woman and you want to build up a platform, and you're going to want to get a social media presence really fast, you use black men to go after black women. That's the quickest way to do it. But she was taking shots at black people all the time, picking things about black American culture that she doesn't like, and turning it into something, trying to take it into a joke, or making them say the things that she wanted to say. By them, I mean the black Africans and the black Caribbeans, who call themselves black Brits. And that was a winning strategy for her because she blew up. She has over 1 million subscribers. 1 million subscribers. And she's talking to black people, just like DJ Vlad. Black people just come in and tell her, what she wants to know. And she was using mostly these black men, these conservative black men, red pill and manosphere men, to do their work for her. And they were proud of her. One of those Manosphere guys said she is hard working. She is hard working. That's why she's such a successful YouTuber, because she is hard working. So, the rest of us who just have a small channel, we're not hard working enough. But they were fascinated with her. And this is just a plain looking white woman. She's not even that attractive. Apparently she dates black men, or she says she does. That's a good way to bring them in, to bring black men in, especially these manosphere types who want to believe that white women really are the savior of black men. But what I'm getting to is that she had them thinking that she was their ally and that she understood them. And then she brought in to interview, after she got these 1 million followers, and she had built her platform on the backs of black people, she brought in a white supremacist named Nick Fuentes. And during that interview, she revealed who she really is by questioning him, and by him sitting there laughing at the things that she was saying. She asked him something about him being a white supremacist, and he admitted that, yeah, that's what people call him, a racist, and he's okay with it. And then they started talking about the Karens, and she said, well, Karens are needed because the Karens say things that other people won't say. She means other white people. And then, of course, she got on black Americans. I said, always want to get back to black Americans. And she was saying that the Africans, they needed to bring in more African immigrants. Now, y'all going to have to watch the video because I'm trying to remember it, and I might not be remembering it in the right details. But she was saying that Africans are better workers. And so she wanted more African immigrants because they weren't lazy. They're hard workers. And she started talking about my Africans. She wanted her Africans. And then they got on slavery. And she said that slavery wasn't as bad. She didn't think it was as bad as people said it was. Black people are just embellishing it, so people will feel sorry for them. And then when the issue of reparations came up, she said no. She didn't believe in reparations because black people hadn't been, wasn't nobody alive now that was a slave. And so that means she's totally ignorant of the history of America because she doesn't understand how slavery still resonates in the lives of black Americans to this day. So she did all that kind of talking, and she was just sitting there just as calm, and they were sitting there just like they were brother and sister having a conversation. And the black manosphere went wild because they realized they had been played. But I think they were going to try to sweep it under the rug and just let it go, except for one black man, and that's Jason Black, who calls himself the black authority. This is not what he really looks like. I think this is one of those 1960s revolutionaries. This is not what he looks like, but this is the picture that he uses to represent himself. Now, I'm going to quickly say that I don't agree with everything that Jason Black says, because on this channel we know that nobody agrees with everything anybody says. If you agree with everything anybody says, that means that you don't have good critical thinking skills. So I definitely don't agree with everything Jason Black says. And sometimes I'll click on to see what he's talking about, and he'll just get so fired up and so intense, I'll have to say, I just can't. But he is intelligent. He does really good research. When he's talking about a topic, he knows what he's talking about, and he stays on topic. He doesn't ramble. And he doesn't just make up something so he can be on a live stream for a long time. He really does give content. And he'll take on people that he thinks needs to be taken on. And this particular time, it was the Manosphere. He took them on, and he took them on well. Anybody who wants to hear the Manosphere being dragged and humiliated the way they have dragged and humiliated black women, you need to watch this. You need to watch this video. And you won't be able to watch all of it because it's so long. When he gets ready to take somebody down, Jason Black is going to take you all the way down. I have a degree of respect for him in the way that I have a degree of respect for Cynthia G. I don't listen to everything she says. I don't agree with everything she says. But sometimes I think she's on point. I'm sorry, but that's how I feel. But I believe in giving each side a fair hearing and a fair shake. I am an African American first. And I am an African American woman. So I'm going to go with somebody that's going to defend African American women, but I'm also going to go with a person that's going to defend African American people. So in Cynthia G, she's going to stand for the black women. And then with Jason Black, he'll stand for black people. Although, like I said, some of the stuff he does is problematic. But these are two people that I will listen to. And I listen to all of the others too, because I have my own mind and my own point of view. And I believe that right is right and fair is fair. So if I think somebody's not being fair, I'm not going to agree with you. But I believe if you are advocating for a just cause, then I will agree with you and I'll support you. But y'all let me know what you think about that. Let me know what you think about that, because I do try to remain open-minded. I'm very confident in myself and what I believe in. And I am willing to give other people the benefit of the doubt, like I was with the Manosphere. I was willing to give them the benefit of the doubt, but they just, they proved themselves to be unworthy of my benefit of the doubt and my support. But anyway, let me continue. In terms of how Jason Black took on the Manosphere, I think it was brilliant. And it's better that a man did it. I couldn't have done it. And one thing we've noticed about the Manosphere, if a woman says something, they have a way of trying to humiliate the woman. But if a black man does, they don't mess with black men. They are very reluctant to take on a black man. But then the way they allowed themselves to be played by this average looking white woman, and to thinking that she was really their friend, and then she was somebody that they could ally with, that just goes to show you these men are not only are they misogynistic and mean-spirited, but they're not very smart. For you to think that this woman is your ally and you haven't vetted her enough to know she doesn't believe in reparations, she thinks you're exaggerating about slavery, and she believes in the stereotypical rhetoric that black people are lazy because black people won't work for nothing. And this is one other thing I want to say before I end this video. It's very unfortunate that black people, and I'm talking about black people all around the world, that we allow ourselves to be played so easily and divided so easily. These African and Caribbeans are now telling black Americans what has happened that has framed these stereotypes that they have when they come to the United States. After black Americans fought for black immigrants to come to the United States from Africa, the Caribbean, and everywhere else, white people twisted that around and used it to their advantage. Instead of telling the truth that we had advocated and wanted them to come to the United States, They lied and said they needed them to come to the United States because black Americans were lazy and wouldn't do the work. Now what was going on was that black Americans belonged to labor unions. And labor unions set the wages and the benefits for all of the workers, the black ones and the white ones. Also, more black people were going to college or into the military or had gotten into those manufacturing jobs where they were members of labor unions. So there weren't as many black people to do this menial, cheap labor that they didn't want to pay anybody to do. So they went into those countries telling those black people that they needed them to come to the United States and work because black Americans were so lazy, and all the other stereotypes that they framed around black Americans. Now, what the Africans and the Caribbeans and the black people in other parts of the world didn't think to question was, why can't the other people in the United States do the work? Black Americans, they say, are only 13% of the American population. That means that there's another 87% of people in the United States. How come they can't do the work? Because what they're failing to tell these people is, we want you to come there and work for nothing or little or nothing. We want cheap labor and we don't want anybody complaining. So that's how come we're bringing you here. So anyway, we black people, it's always going to be fools. It's always going to be idiots. It's always going to be somebody in the manosphere. But black people, at some point, we have to learn to recognize an enemy and deal with an enemy as an enemy. I'm not going to call this woman an enemy because she's a white woman, because I think there are a lot of white women that wouldn't do what she's doing. But some would, and she's one of them. And black people need to be smart enough to recognize an enemy when they see one. But as for the Manosphere and Jason Black, I'm glad he took them on. And as for black women, this is a good example of what you shouldn't do, because if a black woman goes down that road, the same thing is going to happen to her. Okay, y'all. Thank you for listening. Let me know what you think about the video. Subscribe to the channel, give me a thumbs up, leave a comment, share the video, and as always, have a good day. And consider watching Jason Black's video. You might get a kick out of it like I did. Okay, bye-bye.